Okay, so step number 2. This is one of my favorites, but it can maybe make you go out of your comfort zone, but that's okay because being like Jesus is out of our comfort zone.
Definitely.
And that's saying good morning to the Holy Spirit or Jesus, the Father, like just saying, and out loud. I don't mean thinking it. Saying good morning. Because when we're mindful of his presence, we walk so differently, don't you think?
Yes, I agree.
Like if you could literally see Jesus or his spirit with you, do you think you would live differently?
Definitely.
Give me some examples.
Example, like when you're with your parent when you're younger, you're gonna be well behaved because
Right,
he's right there.
yeah.
And when you're not, you'll still have whatever your mom told you, like, don't touch that stove, it's gonna burn. And you're like, it's whenever she's there, oh, you're not gonna touch it. But when she's gone, you're gonna wanna, it's temptation because there's nobody there watching you. It's just like when people do good deeds. You always hear of people complain about certain celebrities. Well, when you're around them, they're completely rude, but then when you're on the camera, it's because people are watching them.
Yeah.
And whenever they're by themselves, nobody's really watching them. It's just.
Well, I know for me, like another thing, like when I'm out walking in the park or jogging, and especially if it's like still dark outside, if I'm by myself, I get kind of like nervous if there's like other people there. But when Zion goes with me because he's so big, then I'm like, they're not gonna mess with me, And so I feel like if I could see Jesus, I wouldn't have that like
fear,
or I wouldn't worry about like my bank account or like, am I gonna have enough money for this or what about that? Because I'd be like, my provider, like, and the thing is our provider, our healer, our protector is always with us, but we forget.
Yep.
We forget that he's with us. And so talking to him out loud makes us mindful of his presence. And for me, saying good morning is a great way to start that out. And so speaking out loud. And as far as like our behavior, I don't think it's that we're like trying to be hypocrites or trying to be like two-faced, like, oh, Jesus, watch him and do the right thing, and oh, he's not, so now I can get away with it. I think we just forget he's with us.
That's true.
And when we're forgetful, we do naughty things. We do. But then we also walk in like anxiety and fear and all of the things that don't reflect his nature. So an easy way is to say good morning. Now, do you ever talk to him out loud?
All the time. Sometimes I look psycho to people because I'll be in my car driving and be like, God, this has happened. How do I react to that? Or why is this happening? Or, hey, God, let me tell you a funny story. I did this, like, I'm just there driving. I remember one time pulling up to a stoplight and I was just talking to him. And the girl next to me was just like, what? And I was like, well, nowadays we have, like, we can speak to our phone. So I was like, you would think people would be used to you talking to yourself, but I had gotten weird. I'm like, if y'all ever see me talking to myself, just know I'm talking to the Holy Spirit. But it does help. It helps me definitely because I'm have to my feelings, so I have to speak out loud. Because even Jerry, my oldest, would come on me. He's like, are you talking to yourself? I'm talking to God. So now when they hear me, they don't even bat an eye. They're like, oh, she's over there having a meltdown with God, or she's over there talking.
One thing that I did when I was in high school is I would go and have lunch with him by myself, like no one around or whatever. And I would just like kind of visualize him in front of me and just like talk and then like let him talk back to me. And that really helped like tune my ear to hear his voice, to like, cause talking is not a one conversation, not just me talking to you or you talking to me, like we're going back and forth, we give each other turns. And a lot of times that's one thing we forget to do with God is have that two-way conversation. We're either just like waiting for him to speak and getting mad that he's not, or we talk and don't let him respond.
And I do that with my Bible. Like when I'm reading whatever he told me to read that day, I'll be reading. I'm like, oh, this is what you meant. Okay, so if you mean this, and then I'll write a note on the side, and then I'll speak out loud while I'm reading. Yeah. Do you do that?
Oh yes, yes. I
do. That's the way too, because he's speaking back.
Well, the importance of talking out loud, it's not like witchcraft or anything. Like if you talk out loud, it's just a principle. When you're talking out loud, you're just more mindful of his presence. So you walk more confidently, more righteously, more like Jesus. So say good morning, because then that will position you to talk to him throughout the day, which will help you look more like Jesus.
I agree.